Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Future Fiber. This is your host Jenny, and this is a channel where we talk about fiber arts related things, mostly knitting at this point. And today we have a podcast episode. I believe we're at episode number 9. So, you know, that's the last number before we get into the double digits, which is pretty exciting. So today I put a bow in my hair because I found it. Can you see that? And I really like how it looks on other people, but I'm not sure if this is giving the look that I want. I'm not sure if this is, you know, cute or if it's giving American forefathers, you know, like is it George Washington or is it cute? I don't know, you be the judge. So last week's video went up about my no-buy experience. No-buy, it's more of a low-buy at this point, experience so far in the year, and I feel like people had some really good discussions in the comments about their experiences with purchasing and how they keep their stash and things like that, and I thought that was really interesting. So thank you to those who had conversations in there. I do read every single comment because I mean I don't get that many views or comments, so it's just easy for me to like read through all of it, and it's always a highlight when I have this more of a conversation, I guess, with you guys who are watching. So yeah, love that. Keep leaving those good comments. Yeah, today I don't really have that much to talk about, I don't think. So I guess we'll just get into it. I'm actually going to switch around the format a little bit and start with the acquisition first because, yeah, I mean, it's what I use to finish off the sweater. So, it was local yarn store day sometime in the day this week, and it also was the Brooklyn yarn crawl in New York City last weekend, and I didn't go to the yarn crawl because I just didn't need any more excuses to be physically in a store to resist the urge to buy yarn. So I didn't put myself in that situation, but I did go to a yarn store for a couple of reasons. I was in the neighborhood and I know that this new yarn shop opened up in Brooklyn called Cleo's, and they're really fun because they also have like a film camera repair shop in the corner of it too, so it's very Brooklyn. Yeah, that's in like East Williamsburg / Bushwick, and I've always wanted to go there. I actually haven't been to that many yarn shops in New York or local yarn stores in New York because... Is that a truck? Excuse me. What was I saying? Cleo's, yes. So I wanted to go because I was in Williamsburg. I got a haircut. I was a hair model, which was an experience. Anyway, so I went to Cleo's because I haven't been to that many yarn stores in New York City, actually. And I'm not in Brooklyn that often, and I just thought it would be a shame to not go. And I also needed... I don't know about needed, but I was like debating if I needed yarn to finish this sweater because I lost yarn tricking again. So all that is to say, I did go to Cleo's and I did buy some yarn. One skein, just enough to finish this guy, and I have some left over. And I thought I could use this for other scrappy projects if there was anything left over. So, and I wanted to support a local yarn store again with, this is why I don't put myself in these situations usually, but yeah, the irony is not lost on me that I posted that no buy update video and then immediately the day after I like bought yarn. Life goes on. So this is what I got. I kept the tag this time. Okay. This is from Manos de Uruguay. And it's Maxima. Extra fine merino. And it is worsted weight. And this yarn is, I think this is single ply. And I was kind of worried because, well, first of all, I wanted to find something that was a little bit more rustic while I was at the yarn shop, but they didn't really have a ton of like rustic yarns. And this, the original yarn that I used to make this vest with is really rustic. So I just thought I would have to either try and match it exactly or go for a very contrasted effect. So I kind of opted for the contrasted effect. This is, the original yarn for this vest is, I think it's like DK or, yeah, I think it's DK weight. So this yarn is a little bit thicker, but I thought it would be okay since it's the edges, the contrast edges. So the different, slightly thicker weight would give a little bit of a different feel to it, I guess. And I thought that would be all right. This yarn though is a lot stronger than I thought it would be. Like my experience working with single ply is like Noro and well, I guess Plotolupi is not spun at all, so maybe that doesn't count, but like Noro. And I don't know if this was just me and my tension, but sometimes I like would tug on the Noro like yarn and it would fall apart on me basically. So I was kind of worried that this yarn would also have that same effect, but it's pretty strong. It doesn't have that, which I thought was really nice. And it has got like a slight bit of halo on it that stays pretty much the same even after washing, but it does stretch and kind of grow a little bit with wash, which I thought was pretty nice. And it's really, really soft. Like against the neck, it doesn't feel terrible. It feels not scratchy at all, which I love. So I think it would be really nice to have a whole, you know, sweaters quantity of this. And if you, I feel like this would be really good for like a cozy next to skin kind of sweatshirty sweater, in maybe more like a darker color. Although it is really soft, so I am worried about it pilling, which isn't that big of a deal with this because it's not like sleeves usually where like the two knitted fabrics of the sleeves would rub against each other and it would pill and kind of felt together. But you don't have that problem with the vest, so I don't know if that would be a point of consideration if you wanted to use this for a sweater's quantity. But also, like, maybe if you could knit like a dress with this too, knitted kind of oversized dress that's long sleeves, I think that could be pretty nice. But I posted a picture of this yarn on Instagram on my stories, and it was, you know, in its skein form. And somebody like immediately knew that this was Manos de Uruguay. And I don't know how they knew it, but they're from there. They're from Uruguay. So maybe they just saw it so often that they had an awareness of what it was. But it was really impressive. I didn't show the tag or anything either. So yeah, kudos. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about with Cleo's? Oh, if you're in the Brooklyn area, definitely go to Cleo's. I know probably a lot of knitters went there because it was part of the Brooklyn Yarn Crawl stop. But I loved the owner. She was really, really nice. And they asked if I wanted my skein caked up. And I don't know why I didn't say yes, but I always do this. When I go to yarn stores, they're like, would you like me to wind this up for you? And I'm like, no, that's okay. And then immediately, as soon as those words leave my mouth, I'm like, oh no, I actually wanted this caked up, but it's too late now. Like, I don't know, I'm so dumb. So, but it's a small shop, but they have a lot of really interesting varieties of yarn. A lot of it, they had a whole wall that was superwash mostly, and then they had another wall that was a little bit more rustic or not superwash basically. And they had a good selection and mix of fibers. It wasn't just wool. They also had some cotton, and then they had this Noro yarn that comes in a skein form. I don't remember the name of it, but oh my god, there was this one purple colorway that was so beautiful. Except, what is with me and purple yarn? I love purple yarn, but I don't actually really like wearing purple that much, so I gotta stop buying that stuff, and I want to no buy anyway, so that's why I left with just this. But go to Cleo's if you're in the New York City area and you happen to be in the Williamsburg neighborhood. So, oh yeah, this is a great segue for me to talk about my first finished object, which is this vest. This is Freehanded by me, and I think in the last podcast you guys saw it when I had the back section kind of halfway done, and then I had maybe one of the yoke pieces, and then I was also knitting on this during the knit and chat, so at that point I was working on just like the stockinette body, and then I realized that I ran out of yarn. I don't know what was wrong with me. That I had like maybe like 200 meters of this yarn, and I thought I could get a whole vest out of it. Yeah, I mean, fool's errand there. Okay, so that's why I got the extra yarn to finish it off. I think it looks fine. I'm not 100% happy with it, and let me tell you why. It is, first of all, it has to do with the fit. I wanted this to be a little bit more oversized because I have a lot of really big shirts that I wanted to put underneath. Yeah, that's not really, no. It doesn't look bad, but it's not what I wanted. I wanted this to be to have at least 10 more centimeters of ease, I think. No, maybe 10 centimeters is going overboard, but you know what I mean. And another thing, I don't think the armhole is deep enough. Here, can you see that? Yeah, like here, this ends here, the armhole. This is good for, like with a small little t-shirt underneath or something, but once again, for what I wanted its original purpose to be, it's not really big enough. And the front part of the vest is wider than the back, and I don't know what I did to do that. It probably has to do something with like how rapidly I increased with the neckline and how many stitches I picked up for the neckline, so it's definitely my fault. But let me turn around this way. Can you see that? Kind of? Maybe? No, listen, I'll just tell you. But basically, this back section is narrower than the front. So front, I wanted the arm side to cut in a little bit more like that and get wider here. The back is doing that, but the front isn't. So I think it really has to do with how I increased and picked up. So, I mean, that's kind of my bad for not doing any math. I really wrong it. So, all in all, I think it turned out pretty okay. And I was kind of bummed when I first finished it because I was like,
this is not what I wanted.
But I wore it a couple different ways, and I think I like it now. And there's not enough yarn for me to do what I wanted to do originally anyways, so this is like the best case scenario for this vest, I think. Anything I want to mention about construction? Construction wise, this I did sew and bind off for all of the edges, so they look pretty neat. I think I did a pretty good job here and here as well. The shoulder or this little ribbing on the sleeve part on the arms, that I did something a little bit different where I don't know if you can tell, but it's wider up here than it is by the armpits. And that's because I did short rows. After I picked up all the way around the armhole, I think I slipped until there were like 12 stitches left from the center of the sleeve. And then I started doing short rows back and forth until I got to the armpit. So this part is shorter, and so I have more room in the armhole, I guess, to shove more shirts underneath. And I just don't really like it when for vests this ribbing is the same length all the way around, I think. Because, I don't know, it kind of makes it look like you have like a little tiny mini sleeve coming out of it. So that's not what I wanted, which is why I did this. Although maybe that wouldn't have been a problem if this vest cut in more towards the center of the body like I originally planned for the front part. Yeah, I don't know. That was just like my reasoning. And yeah, I originally thought when I finished making this, I was like, oh, I kind of wish I made it longer, because if you look at the length of it, this, once again, very high-waisted pants, and then this is just covering the button band, I guess. So it's like, I kind of felt like maybe it was an awkward length, maybe it needed to be longer or shorter. No, I don't want it to be shorter. That's too much. But anyways, but I think proportionally, if I made the ribbing any longer, it would have been kind of weird looking. So this is the best vest outcome with what I had. So I'm pretty happy with it now that I've done all the mental gymnastics for me to like justify my choices. So that's it. And it's a little see-through. Like you can see the stripes of the t-shirt underneath. But I don't know if that's a bad thing. I just think it creates a contrast between the ribbing here, which is more solid, and then the more see-through main body of the vest, I guess. Visually interesting, perhaps. Okay. My finished objects after this are crochet. I had a really crochet-driven week. We're past 2 weeks. Or week? I don't know. I was really motivated to just work on crochet projects. And then the first thing that I'll show is my finished crochet tote. Scrappy crochet tote. Yeah. I like it. I am happy with it. And let me tell you why. The first thing is, I think I did a pretty good job of doing the color distribution here. I mean, this was pretty random. I was not really thinking actively about this, but I guess I just maintained a colorful enough selection of scrap yarn that this turned out. And I think the decision to do the edging in the one color, basically. I mean, the straps are 2 yarns held together, but one color, I think, was also what... Words are escaping me today. The decision to do that, I think, basically was a good one, because it makes the tote look a little bit more cohesive. And while it is scrappy, it doesn't look unintentional, you know? It looks a little bit more planned. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm like, what's the opposite of intentional? Unplanned. Whatever. Okay. Christ. Okay. And construction. Okay, so for the bottom of this bag, I just did rows of half double crochet, just chained to whatever length I desired, and then went up to whatever length I desired. And then I just, did half double crochet all the way around, up and up and up. Didn't do any increases or anything like that. And then when I got to the top here to do this edging, this, I don't know what it's called in crochet, but it was called like reverse single crochet or something in Korean. I will look it up and then I'll maybe add it as a caption here. But it's basically doing, I think, single crochet just backwards. So you know how you would go from right to left, I guess, in crochet if you're right-handed. But on the same side of work, you're going from left to right. So you're going back the way that you came so that it has this like not overlocked, like over-stitched look, which I think is a nice way to finish these type of bags. And then this is, now I learned what this cord is, this Romanian cord, and it's just two cotton yarns held together and done up. And a feature that I added also is that it has an inner lining kind of with drawstring. And I made a mistake because you can see that this is like the inner bag is a little bit too small for the crochet tote, because I measured it from the bottom here. I measured the circumference from the bottom, but then I didn't account for the bag having stretched on top. So that's why it doesn't fit perfectly, but I've just kind of like tacked it on loosely with some whip stitches to the crochet tote. And these drawstring cords are also made by me, and it was just like fingering weight yarn that I had left over. And then I saw this tutorial on, I think it was a TikTok that got posted to Instagram anyways, but it was a video of somebody that had a drill, electric drill, and then they put in like a S hook or like a hook in the drill, and then they took like two yarns together or string together, and then they like first spun that clockwise, and then they folded it in half and spun that counterclockwise, and it makes this twisted kind of cord. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. It makes that kind of cord, which I thought was super cool, and I didn't have anything to use for this, so I made that with, this is Knitting for Olive cotton merino. So yeah, I've been using this a lot, and I think it'll be really cute for the summer. So I don't know, I'm pleased with it. Glad that I did this, and I used up a lot of scrap yarns, and I am now ready to start my next scrappy yarn project. So very happy with this guy. And then the next crochet project I have, I posted this on Instagram. People are like, what the hell? It's toast, it's bread. But it's a bread pouch. So I put in a zipper up top here, and then I put in a lining as well. So I don't know what to put in it. I just made it because I thought it was funny. Because this yarn, actually, maybe this is why I ran out of yarn for this vest, but this isn't that much yarn. I didn't have enough to finish the vest anyways. But this yarn for the white part of the bread here is the same as this vest. And this is a pattern. I'll leave the pattern in the description below, but it was a video tutorial for how to make like dish scrubbies. And then I made two of them, and then I joined them together. After I made the two pieces of flat bread, I guess, I did a row of, I think this is double crochet all the way around each of the parts, and then I fused them together with slip stitches. So, and then the lining I traced the bread shape, and then just, made like a bag with that shape, and then I hand sewed the lining into the bag. You can see the little tacked on whip stitches there, and then the zipper I just had lying around. Oh, and the best feature about this is the little butter pull. It's like a little thing of butter, and I just attached this clip thing, so you can clip it onto the zipper pull. So yeah, I don't know, not much to say about it. It's so stupid, but it's like pretty cute. And I've gotten some interesting comments on it so far when carrying it around. I don't know what to put in this. Like, I've been putting in like lip gloss and stuff when I am going, you know, out and about, and I if you have like a tote that's like this and just open, then, you know, sometimes it's hard to find like the little stuff like chapstick or like eye drops or something. So I've been putting those in here and then putting this in a tote bag. So that's that. I think that's all the FOs. And yeah. It's been a productive crochet week. 2 weeks rather. And then I guess we'll go into the work in progresses. This is almost going to be done. This is the square neck camisole by Garn Slikt on Instagram. And yeah, guys, this is almost done. Look at that. I don't remember where I left off the last time. I think I had just started doing maybe the decreases on the side of the body. You can't see anything. This is black. So I'm just waving around like you can tell what I'm trying to reference. But yeah, there's decreases on the side of the body. Oh, maybe you can kind of see that. Yeah. And it just decreases down the center column. And I was working on that. I had just started, but then now I finished the body and cast off. The casting off for the bottom is done with not Judy's Magic Cast On. That's a cast on. Jenny's Stretchy Bind Off. That's what it is. And yeah, it stretches really well. This yarn is really I really like this yarn. So I would love to buy more of it next year when I am free from this no buy. But it's really stretchy. And it goes right back to its shape, which I love. And this is cotton and acrylic, so I can just throw this in the wash. I'm not gonna put it in the dryer probably, but you better believe this is going in the washing machine. I want to hand wash as little as possible, so not a great hobby to get into if you don't like hand washing. Yeah, so where I am right now, so I've done, I don't know if you can tell, I've done the double knitting edge for one of the armholes, and now I'm doing the double knitted edge for the center, or what is this, the neckline. And the neckline is really cinching in the ribbing here. I remember saying that this neckline, when you first cast it on, it looks really huge and it may scare you, but the neckline really kind of tidies that up, because this is just stockinette kind of double ribbing, and it cinches in and makes sure that your stitches are not, your ribbing isn't going like all over the place. So love that. Yeah, I really like the pattern. All the finishes are professional looking, and I don't know, I'm kind of obsessed. Maybe I'll make another one if I have yarn, which I don't, but you know, maybe next year. Anything else I want to say about this? The double knitting is, I don't love double knitting. Like, it looks really nice, but I really don't like the process of it, especially with fingering weight yarn where you have to pick up the little stitches. That's kind of fiddly to me. So other than that, great, awesome, beautiful, perfect. Probably will have this done by next podcast episode. And I'm on my second ball of this yarn, and I would say I have about a third of the skein or the ball. So you definitely can't do this with one ball of this yarn. But did I mention what this is? This is King Cole cotton sock 4-ply. Yeah, summer cotton 4-ply. And yeah, you can't knit this camisole with one ball, but I think if you were just doing like a bralette length, like a more of a crop length, this is really long. This is from the underarm, it's like 30 centimeters. So this is pretty long for a tank top. And if you're not doing that, maybe you could squeak it out of one ball. But my suggestion here, if you don't get sick of using the same yarn, I would buy 3 balls. That's what I did. I would buy 3 balls and then make 2 tank tops. And that would be like perfect use of the yarn, I think. Next work in progress. This is, what is this guy? Oh, this is from the designer Wool & Beyond, and this is the start of a Beyond Basic sweatshirt. So I think last time you guys saw that I was working on this back yoke section, which is supposed to be double knit in the original, but then I knit it single, which is why it's rolling up like this. But now I've picked up the stitches for the left shoulder, so this is gonna go like that. And I'm working on that increased section right now. I don't know why I left off in the middle of the row like this. That's really dumb and whatever, but yeah. Not that much to say about it. I think it'll go super fast if I, really sat down and worked on it. I spent a lot of my time really working on this vest and then the crochet stuff last week, 2 weeks. So this didn't get a bunch of love, and this guy as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm like really liking the yarn combo. Like on camera, I think it looks really nice, almost like TV static, but like lower contrast, so it is not eye searing. And yeah, love that kind of marled effect. And the yarn, I remember this yarn. This is Shetland. No, what is this? This is Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. And I remember when I first got this yarn thinking like, oh, this is so scratchy. Like, I don't know if I love this yarn, but I don't know. Like, the more I work with it, I feel like it's not that scratchy anymore. Maybe I'm like tricking myself into thinking that, but I'm like putting it on like near my neck and stuff. It's like not soft. Like this is baby soft. This is not soft. It's hard, but it's not hairy, so it doesn't feel like bugs are crawling on my skin. So I think it's going to be totally fine as like a next to skin thing, but most likely I'm going to be wearing it as a sweatshirt type of thing, so I'll have something underneath anyways, but I think around the neck it'll be totally fine. Yeah, yeah, not that much to say about it. Love it. Can you hear that radiator? I hope not. Quiet now. Quiet, child. Okay. This, yeah, I just need to work on it. I really am excited about the finished object that this will become. And I like knitting with the yarn. So, and it's been kind of cold still in New York. So I would really like another sweater. So I've been working on that guy. And my next 2 work in progresses, I don't really have anything to say about them because I didn't really work on them. So I'm going to just mention them really quickly. This is the Stella top by Tweedysheep. And I have made pretty much no progress from the last time. And the next one that I also have on needle still is the Robinson wrap cardigan. And this also has no progress. This actually has no progress because one of the comments in the last podcast suggested that I put in a stitch marker from each of the different kind of podcast episodes so that I can tell how much work has been done. And you can tell there's no work there. I didn't do anything. So, I mean, but that's fine. I think this is just, I haven't really worked on these because, I just decided to be relatively invested in working on the other work in progresses. So I guess this next 2 weeks I'm going to focus on the work in progresses. There's only 3 of them now. Well, there's more, but those are like, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the ones that never made it out of the graveyard, basically, but we'll see. Maybe they'll resurrect. I'm supposed to be going to knit night tonight, so I think I'm going to take this guy and then see how much of this I can get done. I just don't really like purling, so this just never gets done because I hate purling. I think I said previously that my work tends to roll out, and that's why I have 2 different needles. Like this one is 2 different needles on my work a lot of the times. And they suggested that I look into like Norwegian purling, which I looked into it, and I have to watch the video like 7 times more to really understand what is happening. I do regular continental purling where you like move the finger back and forth like this. So it kind of hurts my wrists, and I think that's like the main thing. And that's why my tension isn't very good. So I don't know. I'm going to look into some other methods. I tried Portuguese purling, you know, like with the yarn around your neck, or like with the little loopy guy that you put on your shirt. And that was really weird to me, because I like, how do you do that with ribbing, like knitting and purling? So I couldn't understand how to do that. But other than that, I mean, I don't like purling because it's a little bit slower than knitting, but I don't think I purl that slow either. So I'm just like being a baby about it. I'm just being a little baby. I'll stop being a little baby and suck it up and make some progress on this guy, because I really like how the fabric feels. I just don't really like knitting with 3 strands of fiber, and that, so you miss one of the fibers, and it like, you have a little loop that's hanging out like 4 rows up, and you just have to let it go because you're not taking back 4 rows. So that's just what's been going on with this guy. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this episode. Anyways, hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you are. I will see you guys in the next episode. Okay, bye.